129. Let's get to the third of 7 Soderbergh films I'm covering. Let's get to High Flying Bird, which is a Netflix original, done by Soderbergh, of course. Stars Andre Holland, Melvin Gregg, Eddie Tavares, Zazie Beetz, Zachary Quinto, a few others. And the synopsis is, during a pro basketball lockout, a sports agent pitches a rookie basketball client on an intriguing and controversial business proposition. So when this one came out, I had already seen Unsane, which I just covered on the last episode, and I was a big fan of that. I was like, okay, cool, another iPhone shot film by Soderbergh. I'm there. And being released on Netflix, it was easy to access, and I've seen it twice now, I think. It's gone up on rewatch. The first time I saw it, I was like, not amazing, but and I don't think the movie is amazing overall anyways, but it has gone up a little bit on rewatch. And the iPhone aspect of the movie I like. I think it looks good. I think it's shot well. It's directed well. I really don't even notice it all that often. I think I probably notice the iPhone style less than I did in Unsane. And so all that works. I'm not against anything like that. I appreciate the experimentation. I think the biggest issue overall, not that it's a huge problem and it's very much a personal perspective, is that the script is very closed off, very contained, very in the world of NBA terminology and lingo. And so if you aren't well versed in NBA culture and history, which I'm not really, I'm more of a soccer and baseball guy personally, so I'm just not that well versed in NBA stuff. If you're not, to me, I found it to be pretty distant at times and a little confusing. I'm like, all right, what is this person symbolizing? What are they talking about in terms of the NBA world, all that stuff? So I think while there's nothing wrong inherently of having a more distant, cryptic script and perhaps it being more focused on a certain audience, if we're comparing it to other films in the same sort of vein, like, for example, Moneyball, that's something, in my opinion, that anyone could watch and understand fairly well to follow along and not really get lost. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think that's a good example. And so I don't think this movie has that strength, which isn't, again, not a big problem, but on both watches, I found that to be a little frustrating. So that's the main thing that brings it down at times. I think performance-wise, I love Andre Holland. He's a great character actor across the board. I love him in everything. Zazie Beetz has grown on me a lot. She still hasn't been in that much, but I like her in Deadpool 2, Joker, and some other things. So really like her. And even though I don't love how the script is done, it's still a pretty interesting look and perspective, behind the scenes peek at the world of NBA, was something I know nothing about. So that on its own is kind of interesting. Even if I didn't follow everything, it's still like, hey, I'm learning something new about something I didn't know about, So, because I remember when the NBA lockout happened, or this particular one, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, I'm not a basketball fan. I'm not going to pay much attention to it. So I can appreciate getting to learn something about it, regardless of what is true and what's changed and all that. So I would recommend it. It is, I guess you could call it a bit of a tough watch. You really have to invest to get something out of it. And maybe if you are a big basketball fan, you would enjoy it even more than I did. And I think it could go up even more over time. I think it's one of those. So it's a grower for sure. Oh, and some other things. I do like the occasional commentary or observations on people becoming instant celebrities because of sports or movies or whatever, and how certain personalities can clash, especially on a team. It's not you're just an actor. It's I'm having to work with this person and I'm pissed at them. I'm going to trash them on Twitter. Oh, no, don't do that, because then that could ruin your whole career, especially if you're at the beginning of it. So all that stuff is pretty interesting and definitely speaks to modern day culture and cancel culture even. So yeah, I could say it's underrated. I feel like I'd never hear anyone mention it in everyday conversation about movies. So I would give it a look, give it a chance, because you never know. You might be actually really interested in what's happening. Maybe not. So that one is a heavy 3.5 out of 5.